Okay, g'day. Richard Musgrave-Evans here from Australia. Now today we're going to be painting a massive plein air painting of country Victoria. Now this is going to be done in real time with no edits. So that way you get to see how I work, warts and all. This should be a bit of fun. Alright, let's do this. Okay, g'day. I'm Richard Musgrave-Evans and today I'm in country Victoria, Australia. Now we've got midday light, absolute full sun. It's a land of blue and gold here, but at the moment, because the sun is so intense, the camera is having trouble picking up on the distance and also picking up this. So of course we've got to sacrifice the distance so we can see the painting clearly. Anyway, what we're going to do today, as usual, is work large on clear primed Belgian linen, palette knives, and tons of oil paint. Now this should be a bit of fun because I've been doing a lot of outback work recently and also a few coastals, but I'm really keen to just do some inland country Victoria, the land of blue and gold. Alright, before we keep on talking any further and waste a whole lot more time, let's do this. Okay, as usual, you can see here what I've done is taped off the horizon. Now I measured this side down and I measured that side down. I've got them even. I've even put a slight camber on the horizon to give the feeling of the curvature of the earth, because today we're painting a lot of distance. Now basically when I block in, all I do is I block in the shapes of the composition, darks to light, etc, etc. So it may not look like much, but to me I can already see what I'm thinking about painting. Anyway, let's just go. Alright. Always looking for the biggest difference between what I'm looking at here and what I'm looking at out there. Now what I've got, because I've got darks, I reckon what I'll do is I'll continue with this horizon and bring the distant haze up to the edge. So I'll grab some cobalt blue, white. There's already a little bit of magenta in that mix, so I'll just put a bit more magenta. Let's just check that, see what we've got. A bit more magenta. Okay, let's have a look at this. So that's a lighter tone than what I've already put there, that's lighter. Because it's receding into the distance, we need to go lighter, of course. So we'll just bung that in there like that. You don't have to put every single mark in, just get the basic vibe of it. Okay, so now I've gone for a little bit more white and a little bit more blue. Less magenta in the mix. Okay, so that's lightened the tone. You can see that tone's lighter than the other one. And that's making it recede into the distance better. Okay, a bit more white, a bit more blue. Yep, that's close. Maybe a tad more of this white colour. Now I'll take it right up to the tape mark, and what I'll do is peel the tape off in a minute. Just making it right up to the edge of that tape. Starting to get a forearm burnout from the workout. Little RSI, ting 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 ting. Alright. There certainly is plenty of this painting, it goes on and on. This particular piece I think is about 68 inches long, from what I can remember. Okay, so we've got that in. Oops, hang on. Just made a bit of a mess there, I'll just clean that up. Just blend these a little bit like so. Blend them into each other so they accept each other. Keep it very horizontal in the distance. If you go too much like this in the distance, it doesn't look like distance. You've got to keep it very lateral. Alright, I'll just stand back and have a look at that. Okay, so stage one is done. Let's just get that tape off and get stuck into the sky. Now again today I'm working on Belgian linen, which is clear primed. I always like to work on clear prime because what it does, it gives you a neutral colour to start with. And I feel a neutral colour is easier to match the colours in the distance when it's pretty much of a mid-tone. So Belgian linen with just a clear primer over it seems to work perfect for that. Got a little rubbish bin set up there, which is good. Right, today, what have we got for sky? It's always a tricky thing judging those horizon skies. They're always a bit of a trick. It's a pretty clear atmosphere today, so let me see now. Try a bit more magenta in that blue mix that I had on the palette here already, and white. A bit more blue. Plenty of wind around today again. I'm trying to mix up a dusty kind of mauve colour, like a hazy dust colour. Just test that one. I think I'll just grey it off a little with burnt sienna. Plenty of mix. Right, let's try this. The burnt sienna just warms up the grey a little. With just the magenta and the blue, it was a little bit cold. The burnt sienna just gives it a slightly warmer tone. I'm not quite touching the horizon yet, I'm just leaving a bit of a gap so I don't smudge everything. I'll mix them together later. I really enjoy working this way, basically with one palette knife. Large and small, everything's done pretty much with that. Kind of fun trying to see what you can do with just the one piece of material, one instrument. Okay, so we'll just get that in there. Right. Stick that in like so. Coming close but not touching. Almost touching. That's coming along. Okay, now carefully just go this way maybe. Okay, now what I'll do is I've got a horizon kind of haze. Now I'll go into the horizon sky colour, which I reckon today is a bit of a yellow ochre come blue mixture. So I'll put plenty of yellow ochre in the mix. Yellow ochre is a good sky colour. Plenty of white because it's quite low on the horizon. Mix, that's all part of it. Always plenty of that to do. Now that's quite green. There is a fair amount on the horizon, and when I mix it with this mauve, it'll probably get into close to what I want. I think I'll go a little bit more blue though. A little bit too green. That's the bonus working outdoors. When you work plein air, it's so much easier to judge all those colours. Okay, let's try this. Yep. bung that in. Now that is quite green, but don't worry, I'll make improvements on that. Let's go this way. Pop it off the edge. So much fun working on a big canvas like this, you can really get stuck into it. Good workout too. Alright, now blue. More blue, less yellow ochre, because we're getting a clearer atmosphere as we go up higher. The atmosphere has less particles, so it's clearer. So it's a stronger, cleaner colour. Yeah, that's about it. Maybe a tiny bit more blue. Off the edge, like so. Mix it into the colour below it. Now, more blue. Yeah, nice clouds out there today. Bit more blue. Okay, that's not bad. Put that up there. Leave a little bit of the raw linen showing through, that can be where the clouds go. Like so. Nice lateral clouds. Go up another tone in colour. Heck, I tell you what, this is starting to burn my forearm. These two arms. Okay, whoop, too dark, more white. About it, that's nice. This way. Take it out. Release some raw linen. Yeah, look at that. Lovely. Okay, now go a little bit more straight blue and white. Let's have a look. Yeah, a little bit more blue with that. That's not too bad, that's looking alright. Yep. Okay. Right. Just going to clear that blue to the side here, and I'll use it later on. Maybe use it later on. Got some yellow in the mix then, that was a bit of a mistake. Alright. Now the top of the sky I'm just going to make a cleaner, bluer colour without any yellow in it. So That's why I've moved all the yellow version of blue over there. It's a nice dark cobalt blue, and then throw magenta in the mix. And of course white. Have a look. Yep. Blue. White and blue. Just mix those together like so, blend the little buggers together. Nice and dark up here. Keep it dark. Give the illusion of dark to light, makes the whole distance recede. Getting there. Now I've got that clamp in the way there, but just have to paint around it. That's holding the painting on. Okay. Getting there, big sky today, big sky. In the land of blue and gold. Up we go this way. Let's push that into that corner if I can. Now get some blending going. Big blob of who knows what there, that can go over there. Okay, so little short marks to blend it all together, get that nice atmospheric little short marks, chunk chunk chunk, like the Impressionists. Dabbling sky, the illusion of light. Good catch, how's that one? Now. Blend, blend, blend. Just keep on blending, keep on blending. You get a convincing sky. It's always a bit of a work getting the sky right, but once it's done, it's worth it. Just mix those together. Let me just clean that palette off a little bit. Okay, back in the game. Just mix those two lower colours together. You got the magenta grey horizon blending into the pale green sky. Half mix the two little beggars together and then you get a nice hazy sky. Cleaning it up a little. Alright, I'll just stand back and see what I've got. Okay, now today immediately as I stood back, even though I've basically got the colours of the sky correct, I'm noticing there's a lot more kind of hazed light lit up in the sky. Particles in the sky are lit up. So what we've got to do here is add a little bit more of a warm tone into the sky. In saying that, let's make up a brew. Mix up a colour. Blend the knife, get all the cold colours off. Burnt sienna, yellow ochre, and white. More yellow ochre. More white by the looks of it. Get that mixed. Okay, let's see what we've got. Might need a little bit more yellow ochre than that. A bit more white. A bit more yellow ochre. Mixing a really light, warm tone. It looks crazy as it first goes on, you think what have I done, but as you blend it, it gets more of that sky colour. So let's put her in. Introduce that sky colour. I mean hazy, atmospheric, light colour I should say. You might say, why didn't I just mix that colour to start with in the sky? Well, the thing is, I find that when you look at the sky, it looks blue. Well, you can't just mix a blue and have it warm because blue's a cold colour. So I find you mix your blue sky up, put it in, then quite often you get the warm colour, which seems to be out there, the Australian sunlight, and blend it into it, and it gets a half mixed feeling of light and blue. So you've got the warm tone and you've also got the blue sky. It can take a lot of mixing though when you do it this way, particularly if you've got a really big painting like this one. So let's just get into it now. Get the workout done. Oops, look at that. Get that all in there. Now I've got to blend that. You don't blend it completely, you blend it kind of halfway between the two. So you've got both the warm and cool contrast. Quite a workout and it's quite a big job, but it's a very big painting today and a huge portion of the painting is the sky, so you've got to get it right. This stuff's great, this paper towel. Let's get that haze right down there. Right down low on the horizon. Mix it right in there like so. Pull out a few dry lumps, don't want that one in there. Or that one, or that one. Or that chunk of magenta, don't want that either. Right. Okay, back into it. Let's just go this way for now. Mix up the brush work or the palette knife work. Get that sky hazed off. Keep those marks nice and short to give the illusion of light and atmosphere. Work your way up and down the sky. blend these two together because there's too much of a contrast. Get them all moulded together beautifully so they look like they're all part of the one sky. Right, getting there. More and more it's starting to look like distance. And you say, what colour is that sky? And that's the very thing. It's got so many subtle colours in it, and because they're half mixed, they're all showing through. Right, now, I'm just going to stand back and have a look. Alright, so that sky's pretty good now, but what I'll do is, I might try and bring the horizon distance and the sky together. I've got a bit of a gap at the moment, I'll bring the two together. You do that by pulling down like so. Need to be careful that you don't go over the lines too much. Bring them together. Got it together there, so bring that down. It is quite a detailed work here, like working big with the palette knife. You can think, yeah, throw all the paint around, but when you're working with a horizon, if you don't have that exactly level and exactly horizon-like, the slightest bump will make it look like a huge mountain. It's got to be spot on. So it's all about bold brushwork or knife work, but at the same time it's about accuracy. Okay, now they're not exactly together yet, but that'll do. I'm going to go for the biggest differences now, and I feel like I need a bit of that lovely golden colours that are in the landscape. I've got a lot of the cool tones, let's put some golden colours in. Hang on, can't help myself, let me fix this up. There you go. Right. Very interesting, okay. Now, I'll stick some of the keynotes in. To me, I want a really light tone in the foreground as a bit of an accent. Yellow, ochre, burnt sienna and white will probably cover it. Just in this area here, quite light. And quite a lot of it as usual because it's big. Right. Yep. Yeah, fair enough. Okay. There's no right or wrong with this, you just got to feel it as you go. You're feeling the foreground, you're painting the foreground, but you're also feeling it. Rather than just going too literal, just feel the general vibe of the whole place. There's no point going absolute. If you paint something exactly how you're seeing it right this second, in another hour it's going to be totally different anyway, so why not go with the whole middle of what basically gives you the feeling of the place. Right. Using upward marks to give the feeling of grass. In the foreground, that is. Out here we've got nice thin low-lying marks. Foreground can quite often be chunky and upright. Okay, now bit of middle ground now, so what I'll do is I'll key off that colour I was just mixing. Maybe a bit of magenta and sky blue in with that same mix, it really kills it off. I'll just have a look how much I've actually killed it off. Let's have a look now. I want that to be about here. Yeah, it's not too bad. A little bit more of that magenta colour. Half mix it in so you got that beautiful magenta coming through. Yep. Lightly pulling down. Okay, what do we got here? I've got to stand back and have another look. That seems to have worked alright. Now I'll grab a bit of that sky blue and white, kill it off even more. A bit more of that blue. Okay, so we've got a bit of a what have we got here? A bit of a mountain range in the distance, just coming up here. Bung that one in. Right, lateral. Those horizontal marks really give you the feeling of distance. Keeping the paint fairly thin as you go back. Thick chunky paint in the foreground. Thin paint in the distance seems to work better, gives the illusion of receding off. Now, as much as I love this massive knife, I'm going to surrender that one for a minute. I'm going to get an ever so slightly smaller one. This little puppy. Still a nice knife. Just want to work, as things are getting more subtle, this distance needs a little bit more subtlety. Again, I'm going to bring that horizon down now with this little knife so I can see what I'm doing. Bringing the two together. Getting rid of all the linen. You can't see any raw linen there because in the distance a chunk of raw linen will look way too dark. I love my raw linen here or wherever else, but right on the horizon you pretty much have to eliminate it when you've got so much distance because it's the wrong colour for distance. So, in saying that, let's just take it out. Like so. Sometimes an accidental bit left here and there is alright. But if you want it to look like it's a long way away, you've got to get the tones right for distance. They're easy if you get the tones right, but if you get them wrong, it does not work. That's starting to feel like it's dropping off nicely. Okay, so now put this little thing over here. There's that wind again. Okay, right. Now Now in that grass mix that I mixed before, I'm going to put a little bit more sky blue, a little bit more magenta, and some more white to tone it off. So gradually the grass colour is getting closer to the horizon, which is a blue. It's becoming more and more the colour of the horizon all the time as it goes back. And very lateral. One slight mark not lateral, it'll look crazy because it's very flat out there. You have it not lateral, and the next thing you've got a massive mountain. Like I've just done there, I think I've just created a mountain where there wasn't one. Don't worry, I'll fix that in a minute. By pulling the paint back off like so, rubbing it clean, pulling it off. Distance. Lightly pull that down, taking paint off as I go, like I said. Pull that across, flatten her off. Keep it nice and flat for distance. Look at that, flat. Flat. Now, on the horizon here, I've got a slight shimmer, and that's alright. But they look like massive hills again, like I was saying, and I don't want massive hills right in that particular spot. There's a couple there I wouldn't mind, but not everywhere. There's actually a bit of a hill here, so what I'm going to do is use the palette knife and pull the blue horizon up a bit. If I can, that is. Hang on, let's see if that's going to work. I think that worked. There, come on there now. Clean her up a bit. Okay, let's have a look at that. Distance, right. Okay, always going for biggest differences. Back into the foreground here. Now I've got some nice warm shadow tones, but I need to put those greens, the light colour of the foliage where the sun's hitting. So, yellow ochre by the looks of it, viridian green, and a bit of burnt sienna. That's what I'll start with anyway, I'll see what happens. It's always different, so you just got to feel it as you go. There may be a bit more burnt sienna. Warm it up a little bit. Just lightly touching. Lightly pulling through, leaving the shadows as well underneath. Now I'm just like leaving a lot of shadows as well as I go. There you go. Maybe a bit more green in that mix for here, a bit of variety. Yellow ochre. Okay, I'll have a look at that. Something's telling me I need more dark in that corner, so I'm just going to bung it in. Let's have a look at that. Some nice, I don't know if the camera's picking up, but there's some nice rock colours in there. What do we got? There's a nice granite boulders running through this middle ground, foreground. So I think I'll bung some of those in. What colour are they today? Half mixing in quite a few colours there. Right, so it's quite warm here. There's a nice rock work here. Bung that in. It's like a platform almost. Whoops. Hang on. That's it. It's like a big granite platform. Some slightly warmer stuff as well happening down here. Let's have a look. What have we got here? Whoops, that's not it. Burnt sienna and orange to really darken it off a bit. Yep. Okay. Green grey now. That's the thing, you've got to vary. I'm seeing green lichen and moss on the rocks over here. They're quite brown there, but over here they're quite green. So a bit cold, a bit more blue. A little bit more blue to make it contrast the foreground. That's the thing, you can talk it over, but sometimes you just got to feel it. And to me, it needed more magenta and blue in that rock work. Okay, now I'll stand back and have a look at that. Well, that's going all right. We're getting a lot of the biggest differences. Dealt with. Now I'm just going to soften these tops of these trees with a clean knife. Just grab it on the top of the foliage and lightly pull through. Wipe it clean again. What that does is palette knives, as I've said before, are usually a very hard type of edge. But what you can do is by cleaning it and then pulling through paint that's already there, which is obviously great with oil paint, not acrylic, you can pull all the paint together and soften it. You just pull that through and now run that like that. There's a bit of a pull through there, you just got to feel it. Go by feel sometimes. Right, that'll do for that. Now, it's hard to see on the camera today. Like I said, in the camera it's particularly bleached out today. And I think because the sun is so strong today, it's bleaching the distance out so we can see the shadows here clearly. Well, what I want to do is paint some of the clouds that are up there. I don't know if you can see them or not. Because I've got such a big sky, I planned on that having clouds. Hang on, I'll clean the edge of that. Clean the edge. Just take a bit of paint off on the edges. So, right. Now, where do I want the clouds to be? Okay. Move all this out of the way so I've got room to work. Don't want all that mucky stuff getting in amongst the beautiful cloud colours. They're very light today, light tones. Clouds are always a fairly light tone, but particularly white today because we're almost looking into the light, and when you look into the light, the clouds seem to lighten right up. Okay, so let's go a bit of pure white. A bit of touchy yellow ochre today. I'll just have a look, see what I think. I'm just going to stand back for a minute to compose the picture. feel like dropping a little bit in there. A little bit up here. It's all about just getting a nice flow here. There we go, orange. Too much orange, but I'll back that off with white. There's sienna, white. We got, yeah, a little bit more yellow ochre in the mix. It was a little bit too brown. You've got to realise in the distance the clouds recede in their colour. They start off more of a yellow and white up here and they recede down to oranges and mauves the lower they get. In the distance that is. So what I'm doing is I've changed the colour for these little puppies. Just feeling at the moment what I think looks like a nice composition maybe. Right. Now I've got to stand back and have a look. Okay, what have we got here? Alright. It's going to mix up some of the under the side of the cloud, the shadow tone of the cloud. It's nice and warm today. The cloud colour that is, on the underside. Let's have a look what we got. No, that's not quite it today. Cool that off a little bit. I've got a bit over the top there. Lighten and cool it a bit. Okay, I'll stand back. Just putting the light tone in. Half rubbing it out. Sometimes you've got to put it in and take it away. Right. Blue in that mix, very subtle here. It looks like I'm really subtly judging the colours as I go here. Just adding a little bit more blue and paling them off as they recede into the distance. A bit more white because that's too dark. Pure white, pure ping, that's accent for you. Yellow ochre with it, slightly less. Okay, now blend that off. Rubbing the paint back as I go, taking bits off. Right, time to go for some different stuff. Got to keep working around the canvas, going for the biggest differences. And now, one of the biggest differences is this middle ground hill. There's a bit of a hill here, just needs some foliage on it. Yeah, maybe just a bit more of that red. Let's have a look. That's too dark, so I need to lighten that off. Very subtle, the distance, very, very subtle. Subtle mix, let's do this. Right, that's not too bad. Yeah, a bit more of that and that. Keep putting them in. Little trees, little things like that in the distance. Oops. Darker as we get closer in. Oops, not that dark. Okay. Whoops. Let's just take that out. I got myself a mucky patch there. Better. I'll just stand back and have a look. Pull that out like that. And okay, what do we got here? Clean that off. Pure white, pure yellow ochre, half mix. Hang on, a bit more white. That's it. Mix it in nice and strong like so. Few upward marks to give the illusion of grass. Half mix a few of those warmer orange tones in, which are there, so might as well pull them out a bit more in the landscape, make them obvious. What have we got here? Rock. Nice boulder here. I'm just putting some beautiful colours in it, and then I'll back it off. Hang on. Oh, let's just get those right colours. some beautiful colours in there, but I want to back it off somewhere near realism. Another nice boulder here. Okay. Here we go again, mixing up a bit of a mid-tone grass colour. Just want it to be a bit lighter and more accented here. There's more of a focal point right here. So we're just lightening her up a bit. Alright. Oops, there we go, look at that. We'll just hang that paper towel again. Right, now what's going on here? Just keep going round and round and round, keep mixing, keep playing with paint. Starting to get there. We're getting a basic effect of light and shadow and midday sun and all the stuff, and I guess that's all we're trying to achieve. So getting there. Just going to soften this a little bit by pulling the knife through it. Maybe pull the knife down to the edge of the hill here to sharpen it here. Pulling the paint down to the horizon to sharpen it. Soften her off there. Mix up a bit of this twilight cloud again, but this time lower down here. Yep. Right. Okay. Get rid of any of the wrong tones and only use the right tones. Pulling in some distant cloud miles away. Cloud from miles away. bit of this, let's see what we've got here. Yep. It's better. Sometimes you really just got to pull it in like that. You've got to not be scared, and if you've got a colour you want to put on, sometimes you just got to put it on. If you stick it on tentatively, the whole painting will look tentative. If you put it on boldly and then refine, you'll get that contrast between accuracy and broadness. Which is what I'm trying to achieve here. Whoops, that's the wrong tone though, isn't it? No drama, mix up another brew over here. Warm tone. Yeah, I'll have a look at that. Mix all these colours here now. Right, what do we got then? Just throwing a few of those clouds right up high in. Okay, now oop, that's not what I want. Yeah, that's alright. Okay, now take some paint off there. Add a little bit of paint here. Just the edges of the hill, just get them nice and defined. There's a nice hill out there. Might as well show it off. Yep. Okay, now, see just here, maybe, just maybe, I should pull through there. And just off from there, but then, whoop, that's not the right colour. Need to find a bit there. No, so what do we got here? Let's have a look. Right. Now, might just grab this little palette knife, get some speed through here. It's getting a feeling a real distance in comparison to the foreground. Put a bit of sting there, why not? Play with a bit of colour sometimes, just pull it up. Okay, hang on, what do we got? Just going to need a tiny bit of fresh yellow ochre to get this mix that I'm trying to achieve. I want a clean colour, I want pure white, yellow ochre. Just want to create an edge somewhere. Gives you a focal point, something to look at. Your eyes always go to straight lines and harsh lines. So you do that where you want to create a tension, and where you don't, you go softer, basically. There's a big blob of green in the sky, which I did not intend on doing. So we'll just take that one out. So, alright, well that is basically it. We've got, we've really got the effect of light and shadow and a lot of distance, a lot of foreground to distance and some nice clouds, and on a big painting, which is fun. Pretty much it's what's there. It's just very hard today, as I said before, to see what's there. For some reason the camera just can't pick it up today. So what I'll do is I'll turn the camera off and then I'll bring it in, let you have a look at this, and you can also have a look out there. No worries. Thank you very much. Alright, here we are. Large Australian landscape in central Victoria. Midday, high noon. A land of blue and gold. Let's just pan in and see this painting. As I said before, it's a big painting. It's about 68 inches across and about 36 inches high. So we're looking at a close-up foreground, a drop-off into vast distance. Let's just pan in and check out some of this technique. Okay, so as you can see in the foreground, I've been plenty bold with colour and chunks, and I've done that on purpose. Big thick chunks to give the illusion of chunky foreground, contrasting with the distance, which is very even in colour and very thinly painted. And that contrast between the two, you get the colours and tones fairly correct, will give you that feeling of great distance. Now as you can see here, I've also popped in with all those subtleties of the sky tones. And there's all that yellow ochre I intermixed with the blue and whatnot to give the feeling of a blue sky but a sunlit sky. And you can see with the clouds I've gone quite chunky. Quite a bold technique and nice subtle colours in the clouds themselves. And the highlights, pure white and pure yellow ochre, just really make them pop. And I love to use these rainbow effects where you half mix colours, like this foreground rock here, believe me that is a rock, is a mixture of colours, so when you stand back it turns into basically a grey rock. But up close you've got all the other things that have made that rock, and that creates interest. And also doing that in the foreground will really bring the foreground up and make the distance recede. And this painting is all about near to far. Well, there you go, Australia, a land of blue and gold. Midsummer. Well, there you go, the end of another video. Now remember, if you like the video, to like the video, forward it on to your friends and subscribe. Until next time, we'll see you down the road. Cheers.